students. Gatigana. Good afternoon, students. We are going to continue in today's session the prose lesson Grammar of Anarchy. It is not that India did not know what democracy is. So you are saying that if it is not that India did not know what democracy is. There was a time when India was studied with republics. So it was a time you can see that India was studied with republics, and even when there were monarchies, then you can see that when there were even this Kallava also make him to sit. When where there were monarchies, they were either elected or limited. So you can see that there were some monarchies or even the people, they were either elected or limited. They were never absolute. So they were never absolute. It is not that India did not know parliament or parliamentary procedure. So now it is saying that it is not that India. So now it is not that India that did not know parliaments or parliamentary procedure. A study of Buddhist bhikshu sanghas discloses that there were only three parliaments for the sanghas were nothing but parliaments, but the sanghas knew observed all the rules of parliamentary procedure known as modern times. So although these rules of parliamentary procedure were applied by the Buddha, you can see that there were the meetings of sanghas and Buddha. They have been borrowed from the rules and political assemblies of the country in his time. So now they are going to see that there will be a slight change in the knowing of parliaments and parliamentary procedure. So for the sanghas you are going to see that a study of Buddhists of the Bhikshu sanghas, they enclose that there were three parliaments. So what were those three parliaments were as for the sanghas were nothing but they were the parliaments. Then, but the Sanghas knew and observed the rules of our parliamentary procedure. No new to the modern times, although these rules of parliamentary procedure were applied by Buddha to the meetings of Sanghas, he must have borrowed them from the rules of the political assemblies there and these functionings in the countries of his time. So like this, there were the three democratic rules of these parliament of the people there. This democratic system, India lost. So this type of the democratic system, India lost. Will she lose it a second time? Now there arises a question. Will she lose it a second time? I don't know. But it is quite possible in a country like India. Then again, he is saying that I do not know what it is quite possible in a country. So, like India is there, where democracy from its long distance must be regarded as something quite new. There is a danger of democracy and giving place to the dictatorship there. So, it is quite possible for the newborn democracy to retain its form but give the place of dictatorship. In fact, if there is a landslide, the danger of the second possibility అవతల room ఎవరు లేరు. Then if there is a landslide, the danger of the second possibility becoming an actually is much greater there. And you can see that it is a danger of democracy giving place to the dictatorship, and it is also quite possible for this newborn democracy to retain in this form. So, if we wish to maintain democracy, not merely in form, not merely in form, but also in fact, we must, we do, the first thing in my judgment we must do is to hold fast to constitutional methods of achieving our social and economic objectives. It means we must abandon the bloody methods of revolution. So we must achieve that this is the methods of revolution. It means that we must abandon the method of civil obedience there. What are the methods of the civil obedience? Non-cooperation and satyagraha. When there was no way left for constitutional methods for achieving the economic and social objectives, there was a great deal of justification, unconstitutional methods, but where constitutional methods are open and there can be justification for these unconstitutional methods there. These methods are nothing but the grammar of anarchy, and the sooner they are abandoned, the better for us. You should have to see what are these methods are, and they are nothing but the grammar of anarchy, and the sooner they are abandoned, the better for us. So you can see that if at all the wish is there, you should have to see the mere fact and also the constitutional methods for achieving these social economic objectives, and also the abundance of the civil obedience and non-cooperation movement and satyagraha there. When there was no way left, so when it is there was a no way left to the constitutional method for achieving economic and social objectives, you should have to see that there was a great deal of justification of unconstitutional methods there. But where the constitutional methods are open, there can be justification for these unconstitutional methods. These methods are nothing but the grammar of anarchy, and no sooner they are abandoned, the better for us. The second thing we must do is observe the caution which John Stuart Mill has given to all who are interested in the maintenance of democracy, namely to lay their liberties. So, you should have to see that to lay their liberties at the feet of even a great man, or to trust him with power which enables them to subvert institutions. There is nothing wrong in being grateful to great men who have rendered lifelong services to the country, but there are limits to gratefulness. This caution is more necessary in India than in any case of any other country. For in India, bhakti, what may be called the path of devotion, or here, ship there. This plays an important role in politics, unequaled in magnitude by the part it plays in the politics of any other world. Bhakti in religion may be a road to the salvation of soul, but in politics, bhakti or heroship is a sure road to degradation and eventual dictatorship there. So this caution is far more necessary in the case of India, and in the case of any other country. For India, more necessary and that which may be called the path of devotion or hero worship there. This plays a part in the politics unequaled in magnitude by the part it plays in the political or politics of any other country in the world. Bhakti in religion may be to a road to the salvation of the soul, but in politics of bhakti or hero worship is sure to road or to degradation and eventual of the dictatorship. And you should have to see how the democracy rises and what are the things that is going to be taken from this democracy of the country which has to be accepted in India. Presently in India, what will be the present day's democracy is suitable to the country of the Indian democracy. The third thing we must do is not to be content with the mere political democracy. So this is the third thing where we are going to be seen that it is not to be content with mere political democracy. We must make our political democracy a social democracy as well. So now we are saying that it is well to say that we must make our political democracy a social democracy as well. But political democracy cannot last unless there lies at the base of it social democracy. And what does social democracy mean in life? And what is this social democracy in life means is these principles of liberty, equality, and fraternity are not to be treated as separate items in a trinity there. They form a union of trinity in the sense that to divorce one from the other is to defeat the very purpose of democracy there. Liberty cannot be discovered from equality, and you can see that equality cannot be divorced from liberty. So whatever the three principles you are going to see, so that liberty, equality and fraternity is the motto of the two countries, and especially that one of the country is taking with the example of the liberty cannot be divorced from the equality, and equality cannot be divorced from liberty. Nor can liberty and equality be divorced with fraternity or without equality. And liberty would produce the supremacy of the law, from what we can say is that supremacy. They form a union of trinity in the sense that to divorce one from the equality that cannot be divorced from the liberty, nor can liberty or equality can be divorced from the fraternity there. Without quality, liberty would produce the supremacy of the new over the many, and equality without liberty would kill individual initiative. Without fraternity, liberty and equality could not become a course of things. So, just you think of that first point of that one. One of the quality is the social plane. We have in India immense plane, whereas against of this one. Then the second thing we were waiting. We were able to see the structure of political democracy which this assembly has to laboriously build up. So what is this? Is going to be action in inequality will blow up the structure of this political democracy. which this assembly has to laboriously build up. The second thing we were wanting in is recognition of the people of fraternity. So the second thing which the author wants to say, or he wants to give idea on the second wing, we are the second thing we were watching in his recognition of the principle of fraternity. That does fraternity mean? Fraternity means a sense of common conflict between these recognition of the people of fraternity. And what does the fraternity means? Fraternity means a sense of common brotherhood of all the Indians. And this you can see of the Indians being one people. It is the principle which gives it is the principle which gives unity and solidarity to social life. It is a difficult thing to achieve. I remember the days when politically minded Indians of the nation. I am of the opinion that in believing that we are a nation, we are cherishing a great delusion there. How can people divided into several thousands of castes be a nation? The sooner we realize that we are not as yet a nation in the social and psychological sense of the word, the better of us shall realize the necessity of becoming a nation and seriously think of the ways and means of realizing the goal. The realization of this goal is going to be very difficult. As India, there are castes. The castes are anti-national in the first phase because they bring about separation in social life there, and there are anti-national, and also there are the anti-national things which are going to be generate the jealousy and antipathy between these castes. But we must overcome of all these difficulties if we wish to become nation in reality. If we wish to become our nation into reality, we should have to become in a good sense of real for fraternity that can be taken into these into be a fact only when there is a nation. Without fraternity, equality and liberty will be no deeper than the coats of paint. So you can see, you can have these without fraternity, equality and liberty, and there will be no deeper than coats of paint. But there can be no gain, saying that political power in this country has too long been the monopoly. So, but there can be no gain. So you can have no gain when it is seen into the political power of this country that has too long been the monopoly of a few, and many are not only the best of burden. And what are these things, Jessima? How much time it is there? And it is for
19 minutes.
So these urgency is there, but also the beasts of prey. This monopoly has been merely deprived them for their chance of betterment. It has sharpened them of what they may be called as the significance of life. So we should have to see these downtrodden classes are tired of being governed. So what are these things? And they were impatient. They were impatient to govern themselves. And this urge for realization is the down and trodden classes must be allowed to devolve into class struggle or class war. It would lead into a division of the house that would intend be a day of this disaster day. And you should have to see that what happens that would indeed be a day of disaster, for has been well said by Abraham Lincoln. Then what Abraham Lincoln has said, a house divided against itself cannot stand very long. Therefore, we should have to see the sooner room is made for the realization of their aspiration. The better for the new or the better for the country, the better for the maintenance for its independence, and the better for the continuance of its democratic structure. This can only be done by the establishment of quality and fraternity in all spheres of life. That is why I have laid so much stress on them. Independence is no doubt a matter of joy. So you can see that independence is also a no doubt a matter of joy is there, but let it not forget that independence has thrown us great responsibilities. Through independence, we have lost the excuse of the blaming of these British for anything going wrong. If hereafter things were go wrong, we will have nobody to blame except ourselves. There is great danger of things going wrong. Times are fast changing. People, including our own, are being made or being moved by new ideologies. They were getting tired of government by the people. They are prepared to have governments for the people who are indifferent, whether it is government of the people and by the people of the people. Then for the people, by the people, let us resolve not to be tardy in the recognition of the evils that lie across our path and which induce the people to prefer government for the people over the government by the people, not to be weak in our initiative to remove them. That is the only way to serve the country. I know of no better. So you should have to see, and whatever the things that are being given in order to identification of these liberty, social fraternity and equality are the motto of the countries which are being taken. Those are the things which are being given there. So now you can see the meanings of the words of these glossary terms. Grammar means a set of rules. Anarchy, a state of disorder due to the absence of non-recognition of authority or any other controlling power. Then abject means terrible and without hope. Antipathy, a strong feeling or dislike. Creed, set of principles or religious beliefs. Devolve, transfer of delegate powers to a lower level. Disaster, an occurrence causing widespread destruction. Disuse, no longer in use. Divorce, official ending of a marriage or a separation. Then fraternity, a group of sharing the same profession, interest or belief. And gainsay, that is often used in the negative sentences to say something is true, is not true there. So to disagree with or deny or something, so that is gainsay. And jeopardy, that is there in a dangerous position or situation and likely to be lost or harmed. Landslide, an overwhelming majority of votes for one party or candidate in an election, or collapse of a mass of earth or rock from mountain or a cliff. Monopoly is the complete control of trade in particular goods for the supply of particular service. So that is completed and controlled. Resolutely, having or showing the great determination. Studded, decorated with small raised pieces of metal, and studded with something is a lot of something or. So decorated with small raised of the pieces of metal, that is studded with something, a lot of something or in it. Then sapped, to make something or somebody weaker, to destroy something gradually. Trinity, a group of people, a group of three people or things, the three persons of Christian Godhead, that is Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. So these are the words when you are going to see that the nation is being having with the proper thoughts of even with the rules of these parliamentarian or with the rules of liberty and fraternity and equality there. And what is the historic day of these celebrated as how much it is there, ma?
ఇంకా 1 minute చెప్పు.
So this is there on the eve of the celebration of the speaker's mind on this historic day. According to the speaker, what was the system of governance that India had in the past, but it has lost it. What evidence does he give to show this system should be existed in the past? If at all it is there, that should be existed in the past. And you can see that civil disobedience, non-cooperation, and satyagraha are the principal methods of seeking justice. Now, during India's freedom struggle, why does the speaker want these methods abundant in independent in India? And what alternative methods are there to be recommended there? And what was Jay's Mill injunction to those interested to maintaining of democracy there? And what is the difference between the showing of this bhakti religion and bhakti in politics? And you should have to find the particularly relevant event in India there. and what according to the speaker is, it is a social democracy, and what according to the speaker were the various contradictions that India was faced with on January 26, 1950. The speaker states that two things are completely absent in the Indian society. What are they? And that also you can see. What is fraternity and what are the obstacles in achieving this fraternity there? What has India lost by independence? What responsibility has this loss brought upon in independent India there? And these are the comprehension questions which are being given when the movements of these lesson is being followed from the rules of grammar of anarchy that has to be placed with the full-fledged fragments who works to the social and political democracy to continue to be relevant even today. So we shall see that these are the lines of the set of rules which the people are going to have to disobedience of the governance which has been given from the lesson the grammar of anarchy. That lesson was being written by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar by the following, giving his explanation in the extract closing of the speech in the Constituent Assembly on November 25th in the year of 1949. So this speech outlines, gives the diversity of India and details in the challenges of the country would face many implementing the Constitution. Okay, thank you.